This is an AdLab Pro video. AdLab Pro is a project funded by the European Union. This video is made available to you on a Creative Commons license.
Raised Drawings. Module 4. Unit 7. This video is reproduced with permission of Vocalize. In this video, you will have the chance to listen to the opinions of a series of people with sight loss on raised drawings and whether they find them useful and easy or not. Do you like the opportunity to handle objects in a museum or a gallery?
I find raised drawings as a touch object actually really useful because, again, whether you're viewing the object with the sight you have left or you're hearing about it through an audio description, being able to run your fingers over and help orientate yourself really where you are in the painting when it's describing a particular feature, it helps you, again, it helps you make those connections. I think when one sight is impaired, it's really important that your other senses can connect together and triangulate the information that's missing, and that helps you build the visual image. So I find 3D paintings really useful.
Tactile maps are really good because they give you that extra sort of dimension of looking at something that's flat, whereas tactile one you can get sort of a feel, especially for buildings. I went to a small museum in Lincolnshire fairly recently, and they've got like tactile sort of old sort of farm buildings, and you know, through the ages, and you can sort of really get a feel of what, you know, the material was that the buildings were made of compared to now.
I don't particularly find raised drawings useful. I find things that are black and white. So if there's a sort of pattern on an object, I find it can be a photocopy, like a black and white photocopy of that pattern. I find that really useful because I can differentiate the pattern. Whereas if it's, you know, if the piece is aged or something, I might not be able to work out what the pattern looks like. But I don't necessarily use the tactile diagrams at all, really.
I find tactile drawings, maps, layouts very challenging. And I'm not quite certain why. Because I can feel the tactile surface, and I can understand it may be a layout of a gallery, or it may be a representation of a line drawing or of an illustration or of an object. But for me, it works. The two-dimensional sensation is less effective in helping me build a three-dimensional image in my head. So I struggle a bit with tactile, particularly maps, diagrams. Sometimes an object will work a little bit better. I mean, for a tactile drawing of the head of a dog, for example, I mean, I probably would get that. If it was of a pack of wolves, I probably would not get it. So it also depends on the subject matter, perhaps.
With tactile drawings, you can't put everything in, but it gives a very basic overview of where you want to go. My only concern is that although tactile drawings gives you an idea of where you're going, and it can then, I can put it into my head where I want to go, there are little things that have to be left off by definition, and then my little brain gets confused because when I actually follow the route, I'm getting more information than was available on the map. But yeah, I like having the option, but can get confused.
Some raised artworks are very complicated and they include every bit of detail. They key code the texture, the colour, the paint, and there's a lot going on. I think there's two ways of using them. I think the complex ones are really useful if you really want to get an in-depth, if you want to almost study the painting. So if you're approaching it almost from an academic or an intellectual point of view and you want to access every bit of detail in that, I think that's useful. You can use it like a textbook to the painting. I think if you want to experience a painting through a 3D painting as a visitor to a museum for pleasure, for the experience of that object or that painting, I think simpler can actually be a bit more helpful. It's a way to get you into the painting. I don't think every aspect of the painting needs to be replicated in touch. I think it's more about, again, giving you that equivalent experience of a sighted person, and so simplifying what you are feeling so that you can actually really get to grips with what you're touching and how that relates to the objects. I think that's really helpful.
Raised Drawings. Module 4. Unit 7. Prepared by Vocalize. Edited by Anis Gazillo for University of Trieste.
This video is part of AdLab Pro, Audio Description, a laboratory for the development of a new professional profile, financed by the European Union under the Erasmus Plus programme. Key Action 2, Strategic Partnerships. Project number 20161IT02 KA203024311. The information and views set out in this presentation are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official opinion of the European Union. Neither the European Union institutions and bodies nor any person acting on their behalf may be held responsible for the use which may be made of the information contained therein. This was an AdLab Pro video. AdLab Pro partners are University of Trieste, Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona, University of Antwerp, Adam Mickiewicz University, RTV Slovenia, Utopian Voices, Sound Focus, and Royal National Institute of Blind People. AdLab Pro was funded by the European Union. This video was made available to you on a Creative Commons license.